Hello, everybody. I'd like to first of all apologize for the low quality of this video. I was hoping that by the time I started doing these that I would have a higher level of production, but sort of feeling, I'm of the opinion that there's some things that need to be communicated right now, that time is going short with regard to sharing certain things. So I apologize for the quality, the sound quality, the visual quality, but this is the best I can do right now. So stand by. So I have some questions that I would like to raise to people, and it's not anything that is focused primarily on politics, although some may take it that way. These are just some fundamental questions with regard to our rights as human beings, and in particular here in the United States of America. I received some news this morning that was very discouraging, and without getting too deep into it, there's a good chance that I will not have a job that I've worked for 21 plus years. Because of certain things that are taking place. But I think there's something far deeper than that's taking place. And by the way, it's not just me, it's hundreds and thousands of people who are subject to these things. But I think there are some fundamental questions with regard to freedoms and morality that I think we need to think about, that we need to consider. So I'm going to get to the questions. I can be long-winded and I'll try to keep it short. So my first question is, should you support everyone's right to express their opinion? Should you support everyone's right to express their opinion? So, if you haven't noticed, I am what most people would consider black or of African descent or African American. Which is a term I don't use, that's a whole nother thing. But and one of the things that, when I've talked about things like freedom of speech, one of the things that I've always shared with people is that I support the Ku Klux Klan right to express their opinion. So I'm going to cut right to the chase. And of course that's shocking to most people. But let me tell you the reason why I support the Ku Klux Klan's right to express their opinion. And it's obviously not because I agree with their philosophy, but I know that once you start making laws to censor people from speaking, and you pick groups, then you can widen that. It's what some would refer to as Pandora's box. So if you start saying the Ku Klux Klan can't speak, and you cut them off, whether it's publicly or on social media, then eventually that window is going to open up, or that hole or that trap is going to open up for everybody. Like if all of a sudden you're considered a domestic terrorist. Watched a video today that went on this, it was edited and just showed all these news clippings of people using referring to domestic terrorists. Now, do I think that there's no such thing as a domestic terrorist? Sure there is. But what is it? How do you become a domestic terrorist? So basically you become a domestic terrorist when you, according to what I'm seeing and hearing, when you are in disagreement with the established government. Okay, now I sort of thought that it was okay to express your opinion about the government if you disagree with them, but I guess, and I know it's not that simple, but if you express an opinion but you do it with vehemence and a certain level of emotion, and if you happen to own guns, or if you organize, you could be labeled a domestic terrorist. So it may be the Ku Klux Klan today, but it may be you at some other time, depending on who's in power, who has control of those things. Now, does that mean that I don't have a problem with organizations saying that people should be killed? And we'll get into that shortly because there's some other things concerning that. Absolutely not. I think that if you have someone making threats or encouraging people to take the lives or harm other people, I think that they should at least be investigated and determine whether or not there's some validity to what they're trying to express. So that does concern me. But if they have an opinion and they say that black people are a lower life form, which I know in the past they have, as well as organizations, do I have a problem with that? Absolutely. Do I think they should be silenced because of it? No. And that leads to some other things that we're witnessing now in our present day society with regard to how someone's speech can influence other people. That is a very dangerous road to tread down when you're saying someone is speaking not kindly or in a way that a certain group would not like, and they could influence people, and that influence could lead to violence. Okay, you can't do that. And the people who actually say these things don't believe it themselves. If you know of any news organization or news anchors or anybody who says those things, look and see if they say anything bad about other people. Do they have a group of people that they disagree with and that they call names, stupid, idiots, whatever? Well, those words influence people too. So they don't even believe those things. What it is that they don't like them, and because they fall into their category of dangerous, then they have no problem silencing them. I think we need to reconsider that. I think in order for us to flourish and grow and be a productive society, we have to allow dissenting opinions, whatever that means, right? Last I checked, the United States of America is actually divided pretty evenly down the middle, regardless of who's president. Okay, I've heard people tell me that this person, that person's divided the country. Okay, well, why don't you check the elections for in my lifetime, pretty much. I'm 53 years old. They're always pretty much 50-50. All right. I think the only one that I can recall that wasn't was Jimmy Carter when he ran against Ronald Reagan. I think it was in 1980. I was very young then. Very ignorant too. But we need to think about that. Are we going to silence people from expressing opinion? How can you know if you're silencing other people's opinion? How can you know whether or not there's a weakness in that opinion if you don't allow them to speak? Should we challenge them? Absolutely. Everybody should be challenged. But we need to have this dialogue so that we can find the truth in the middle. And sometimes it's not just a truth. It's just an opinion. Like whether or not red is better than blue. Probably shouldn't use those colors. But whether or not green is better than yellow. Okay, it's just an opinion. And then there's some things that we could weigh objectively. But people have to be given an opportunity to present their positions, and we have to allow other people, even people that we disagree with, to express themselves. That's part of being a free country, which I've been told this is. Didn't start off that way, not opening that box, but we have to allow people to speak freely and then critique them and have a fair exchange. Not have one guy and then three other guys or people crushing on them, okay? That's manipulating the perspective or giving yourself an advantage. It's like you're almost bullying. You're bullying, not almost, you're bullying, okay? And you have to have a fair fight. Go back and forth and let people decide, okay? People will figure it out. So we need to ask ourselves, are we going to be a free speech country or not? And if you have an organization or media company that says, well, you can't say these things, are we going to support them? Because I see some people being censored without an explanation. Now, they're a private company, or these are private companies, I get that. But we have to at least identify them and say, you know what, that's not right. We have to allow people to speak freely.